Hello and welcome to Learning Excel 2016. My name is Mike Henry and this is the first video from Chapter 2. In this video we're going to look at the differences between content and formatting and really understand that concept there. We're going to look at how we can put backgrounds into Excel spreadsheets to give them a certain look. And then we're going to learn about fonts. We'll look at some themes. We'll look at the sizes. And we're going to have the ability to have two different styles in one cell. So we're going to take a look at that. And we're also going to play with colors, fonts, and backgrounds in general for cells. The first key concept I want you to understand from this video is the concept of content versus formatting. And this is a really important one because you sometimes see people working in one area trying to fix the other area, and it's just not going to work. So content is what's inside that cell. When we look at cell A1 here, we see the words morning bean. Okay? You see author here for cell A4. This is the content of the cell. It could be letters, it could be numbers, it could be math formulas that are giving us answers. But the content is what's inside the cell. It has nothing to do with its looks. Now the formatting is how it looks. We might turn the words green and we might put them on a different color background. We might change the size of them to be bigger or larger. This is all formatting. It's a very important thing to understand. The content has to be correct. If the content is correct and it doesn't look good, it's not the best, but the content is great. We can make the information part of our decision-making process. If the content is incorrect and you make it look really pretty with lots of special effects and colors and all those kind of neat things, but in the end the content is still wrong, you're going to make bad decisions because you have wrong information. So it's very important to understand, get your content correct, then worry later about how it looks. So at this particular point we have some content here. We do need a little bit more content. So let's real quickly put in the content here. Now the date, I could type in today's date very quickly and easily, but I'm going to show you a really cool keystroke. I'm using Control and then I'm hitting the colon key, Control colon, and you can see that it pops in today's date based on the computer chip and pops that right in for me, so it saves me some time. So now you can see that I'm working on the last day of the year. So that's how we can put in the date rather quickly. So at this particular point, when I look at this, our content is correct. I'm happy with the content. So now we're going to move on and start talking about formatting. For those of you who have worked with Microsoft Word or maybe PowerPoint, you're going to be familiar with a lot of these buttons. If you've worked with another word processor from Apple or one of those, they have the same type of things. It's basically how we make things look. If I click right here in cell A1, I can see morning bean, and it's a format of a Calibri. If I want to change that, I can click here and I can begin scrolling down, and you can see there's a ton of different fonts. If I put here, you can see the Jokerman font is now showing up in cell A1. If I change here, so it gives me the look so I can see if I kind of like that font or not. If you can see I'm in the K's right now and I want to show you a font that's in the B's, instead of doing a lot of scrolling, I can just start typing. You see I hit B and it brings me right to the B's, and then I can say, oh, I want this font, and I pick that particular font. You can see right next to it has my size. I can change the size by clicking here and changing the size real quick. I have other options. You can see here this is an increase the font size, and by clicking on that I'm increasing the font size or decreasing. So you have different buttons for this aspect. Now according to the book, they wanted a particular font here called Calibri Light, so I'm going to come back here and you can see that Calibri Light is actually here because I've used that font recently. It's in my theme, so I put that font right in there. Same thing I want here. I can see that and it's right on the top because I've been using that font. Now I need to make some size changes to these. This one here, they were asking it for to be a 26. I can click here and scroll down to 26, or I can just type 26 and you can see it takes me right there. So you have multiple ways to change a size here. While I'm on this one, they also ask for it to be bolded. So you can see right here there's a B. I get my little pop-up and it says bold. So I click onto that. Notice this is an on-off button. So right now, because it's highlighted, that word is being bolded. If I click on it again, you can see the bolding comes off. So I could bold, I can highlight, italicize, I can put an underline under this, and again, each of these are on and off buttons. Let's see, this one right here is supposed to be a size 18, and they ask for this one not to be bolded, but to be italicized. So you can see I quickly can change some aspects here with the font sizes and colors. Or excuse me, not colors, we're going to do colors next. You can see right here I am going to highlight these two, and this icon right here lets me pick the font color. So right now that these are automatic black, if I change this right here to this color green, you notice that the pop-up shows green, and I've turned these to green. I can actually do the same with these ones here, but instead of me doing it from there, I just highlight these, and because green was the last color used, I can click on that and it turns them all green because it was already in that mode. Okay. Now you can see all the text is green at this particular point. Not the easiest to see. Maybe I want to actually make morning pop out a little bit more. So what I'm going to do with morning is if I highlight right here just the word morning, I can actually come up here on my font and I can come over here to where it says gold accent 4. Notice as I move down the column, gold accent, and it lightens it out. But I want the actual gold accent 4. And now you'll see when I hit enter, I have the morning bean. The morning is in gold and the bean is in green. So I've begun to make things pop out slightly different. I've made it bigger and more popping here. Now down here, this is nice, but this area over here is the title where this is information. So maybe I want to pop this differently. I'll make this the reverse of that. So back here I turn the background green, which obviously green background green text isn't going to show up well, so I'll come over here and I'll take the text color and I'll change that to be white. Now you can see I have white text on a green background versus green text on a white background, kind of popping out a little bit more. So you can help people read things, make it easier for them. Now you can see right here when I click on this, I've got a width of a 10.7. You can see that I'm running out of the cell. So maybe what I want to do is take this cell and I want to drag this out to be a 30. And let's see how the hand-eye coordination is today. Whoops, a little over, under, and whoa, back and forth. This can get very frustrating to try to drop it right on a width of 30. Your hand-eye coordination has to be really good. In other words, no caffeine today. Now, if that's not working for you and you're shaking all over the place, you can always right-click on the column. You can see I right-click there, and I come down here to column width, and I can hand type in 3, 0, and now it doesn't matter how many coffees I've had, I can get this correct. And you go, well, that's looking good, except you still have some running out of the cell. Now we're going to fix that running out of the cell here. I'm going to click on this cell, and I'm going to take this cell and I'm going to turn it into text wrap. I'm going to let the text wrap inside the cell and make the cell get longer and longer. And right up here you can see there's a spot called text wrap, and when I click on that you can see that it made the height of this cell grow and the text keeps wrapping inside, almost like a word processing document. Now I'm going to show you some really cool things here. I have the ability to put the text in the middle at the top. I can move it to the side. I can move it over here. You can see it just stacked everything there. So I have some abilities to control things, but right here there's a dialog box. And this allows me to play with a lot of different things. that I don't have that capability with all the buttons here. So this is the old school way to get into formatting alignments. I could also format on the font here. So if I wanted a strike through, you can see I could click here, hit OK, and now everything has a strike through effect. And that's something that you can only get through these dialog boxes. So I come back to font and take out that strike through aspect. So it's really useful to know that there's a lot more tools behind the scenes here. And you can see my strike through is now gone. Now this is nice, but it's kind of like floating out there. Maybe what would be nice is to put a border around this. So you can see right here I've got a button. Allows me to come down here and there's an outside border, and I'll click on that. And you can see now I got this nice outside border that goes around this that will also show up when I print it. And you go, that's nice, but this is all kind of blending together as we go. So maybe what I'll do is highlight these again, and instead of using that border I can use this border here called All Borders, and you can see now where it darkens those in. So when we print this, those lines will print, unlike these grid lines here which will not show up on a piece of paper. So you can see we've begun to give this a better feel. Now, one of the important things that you can do in Excel, you don't always have to do this, but you have the ability, is you could put a background behind all of these cells. We can make these cells look all the same way. And to do that, what we would do is, I'm going to show you my background image here. So I put this down and you can see I've got the background right here on my desktop. And if I double click that, this might be hard to see, but the background is only 1 inch by 1 inch. It's not a big picture. It's a very small picture, as a matter of fact. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tile that background all the way through my file. So I'm going to make little things in here, and I've actually got another file to show you how to do that. So I'm going to come in here to Page Layout, and right here you can see where the background button is. I'm going to background, and I'm going to pull this from a file, and I'm actually going to use a different file here. I'm going to use this one because it's going to pop out for you, and we're going to background here. So what you can see is the file is being repeated over and over and over again. Now that's a horrible background, and you never would want to have that background. So right up here we hit delete, and we're going to put the real background back in. So I'm going to put in from a file, and we're going to take it right off the desktop, and it was the file called right there background. And you can see it's being mirrored in, but because it was a nice easy blend thing, you can see it goes in and it covers everywhere. We could go down to the last cell in this sheet and it has that. And you go, that's great, but this information here is kind of harder to look at right now. So what I can do is I can highlight those 3 cells there. I want those cells to pop. I'm going to take that background and remove it and turn it to be white here. And so now what you see is I've got that white in here, and that's going to pop up a little bit better for us and show us a nice background difference so we can see things popping out. So the first thing that we looked at was content versus formatting, and this is the most important concept that I want you to understand. Content is what's inside the cell. Formatting is how it looks, and the two are very different. You cannot make something look really, really pretty but be wrong and have it be useful. You need your content to be correct. If the content is correct and you make it plain Jane and it really doesn't stand out, it's still okay because people can make decisions on that. When you can take content that's correct, add in some format to really deliver your message, then you've got this down. We looked at all kinds of different things like backgrounds, colors, sizes, fonts. What you want to do is just go out and play with some of this stuff and get a feel for how you can do the changes that you're looking for. Remember, it's about delivering a message. If people go, wow, they have a really awesome looking thing here, but I don't know what they're trying to tell me, you've not done a good job. It's about delivering the message. So always make sure your colors and your special effects help deliver the message that you're trying to get to the end user.